Russian man like inside the dark, call me Bill Snatcher. Just the brother for the rapture. I hang live, holding on strong, hard to capture. Extravagant, resurrect the track and it's militant. And I react like a garden and start killing. It's manifesting. The God's work like appliances, dealing in my sight like a lot.
Before we go any further, just want to say today's video is going to be brought to you by Fandom. If you want to buy some really awesome anime merch from My Hero Academia, Attack on Titan, and Haiku, and so many other anime, I recommend using my link in the description box to check them out. And there's free worldwide shipping on orders over $39. You'll also get an additional 5% off using my promo code down below. For any of you guys who might be interested or on the fence, I highly recommend checking out the website. Pay attention to the size chart. That'll be the biggest thing I would tell you guys. But with that being said, though, let's jump back into today's video. Yo, what's going on, everybody? It's your boy Naruto Explain here, bringing you guys another discussion for Boruto Naruto Next Generations, the manga. And for anime only fans, this is a time of the month where a lot of the content that we talk about here on the channel is going to be spoiler heavy. So I thank you for your support. However, if you're still here, I'm assuming you guys are all caught up with the manga and you do not care about spoilers. And I'm also assuming that you've already hit the like button, because you know the deal by now. If you hit the like button, Himawari will smile, and after all that happened in the last Boruto manga chapter, with Boruto being killed off, Himawari needs all the likes in the world. That way Himawari can smile again. So hit that like button for Himawari and stop being heartless. So with that being said, let's get right into the actual discussion. So as you can tell from the title, as you can tell from the thumbnail, we're going to be talking about whether or not Boruto Uzumaki actually pulled a fast one, and whether or not Boruto was able to put the karma seal onto Code. And if this is indeed the case, is Boruto about to play the long game and allow himself to be revived into Code's body? And I've seen quite a few people mention this in the comment section. I've gotten some requests to talk about this, and in fact, I've gotten a few people on Patreon sending me this as a possible theory. And I'm going to say, I don't necessarily think that I'm 100% on board with it. I kind of feel like this is a red herring. Now, if I end up being wrong, that Code did get a karma seal placed onto him by Boruto, I will 100% own up to it. But right now, I kind of feel like that's a red herring, much in the same way that we're getting all these red flags for Shikamaru dying. And we got the idea that, hey, there's going to be a character that dies, like Boroshiki's going on a rampage. Shikamaru is being held hostage by Code. Surely Shikamaru's going to be the one that dies. And then we get to the Boruto manga chapter, chapter 66. And all of a sudden, this Boruto ends up getting killed. So it's one of those things where I kind of feel like that obvious nod right there is something where it kind of feels like a red herring. I know that Boruto and Kawaki, they talked about it in the past about how they can have Boruto put the karma seal onto Code, and that Boruto will be able to prepare a karma on Code and use that as a way to revive himself. And when you look at it, it kind of makes sense. I'm not saying that this is not possible. It does make sense. Boruto puts the karma on Code. Boruto then allows Kawaki to kill him. It stops Momoshiki from taking over, which is a reminder, according to Amato, in Boruto Chapter 46. He directly says that you can kill Boruto. And in Chapter 47, he says that you can kill Kawaki. And because neither one of them are at 100% Otsuki, you can kill them and stop the Otsuki from being able to revive inside of their body. So that was something that was always on the table. Naruto's just unable to do it, which again, it makes sense why Boruto says in this last chapter, you're the only one I can ask to do this. But the issue that we're running into is that Amato did make a really good point. He said, number one, we don't even know if, since Code already has a karma seal, in this case, the white karma seal that Ishiki gave him, we don't know if you can even implant a second karma seal onto Code's body. And even if you did so, do you really think that Code would just sit there and allow himself to be taken over by Boruto and wait for the extraction to hit 100%? And I've always kind of stood in that line of thinking, like if Code realized what happened, Code would just off himself, and by doing that, he essentially stops Boruto from being revived. That's how I've kind of looked at it. Now, this does make me kind of wonder, though, if this is indeed the way that Kishimoto's taking this, where during all of that slapboxing that Boruto did against Code, that somewhere during that time, he managed to put his hands on Code and managed to put the karma seal on him, that he somehow figured out a way to actually use the karma and implant it onto another person. Which if that happens, boy, those Gary Stu arguments about to come right back up, because there's nothing that suggests that's something that Boruto even learned how to do. But the fact is that if we go that route, now you have to find a way to stop Code from killing himself. Are we in a situation where Kawaki tells Naruto, or Kawaki begins acting on his own and he just immediately stops Code from being able to go into those claw marks because he's shrinking the belts and keeping Code from being able to go into those belts, and he and Naruto detain Code and just basically wait things out for Boruto to get revived? Maybe that's something you do, or maybe you go the route of Kawaki seemingly betrays Naruto, joins Code, and basically waits out the amount of time it's going to take for Boruto's Karma Seal to progress onto Code. But the issue that you're running into is that even if they did that, if they put the Karma Seal onto Code and there was any suspicion, Ada would be able to use her Sharingan eyes, look back in time, and find that moment when Boruto put the Karma Seal onto him. And given the fact that she's been watching Kawaki, she would know that that is something that they considered at one point in time, putting a Karma Seal onto Code. The only way you can throw a wrench in that is if Kawaki goes to stay with Code and he allows himself to be used by Ada, and by basically being Ada's boy toy, Kawaki ends up in a situation where he's able to prevent Ada from telling Code the truth. And I've always said I do feel like Ada is just using Code as a means to an end. I don't think we're going to see Code with his limiters removed. I think that's going to be something that's teased, but that's not going to be something that we see. Ada's just using him as a temporary alliance. So I do think that, hey, if you want to go that route, there is some merit to that. It's just that for me, when I look at Boruto's character, I always keep going back to the fact that when Boruto's presented with that idea, you see how ultimately he did consider it, but you could tell Boruto wasn't 100% on board with it right away, because he didn't like the idea of having to burden somebody else with the karma. And you saw how Kawaki was basically trying to justify it, saying, hey, Code, this guy is trash. This guy basically has no future anyway. Go ahead and put the Karma Seal on him. There's absolutely no problem with it. This dude is a Otsutsuki loyalist. Go ahead and put Karma on him. Use his body in order to revive yourself. There's nothing wrong with it. But it kind of goes back to what you see if you look at Dark Knight, where the Joker has those two boats and he gives them all the detonators. And basically one of the more conundrums that he drops on there is like, hey, yo, you got criminals and rapists and robbers and prisoners on this next boat. Go ahead and blow them up. They've already had their debt to society. They've already been paying their debt to society. They had their chance. Go ahead and save yourself. And ultimately, the people on that ship were unable to press the button. I kind of think that when it comes to Boruto, even if that was a plan that they had, I don't think Boruto would be willing to do something like that. I think that there's something else that they're going to use for a means of revival for Boruto. I don't think it's going to be Boruto put Karma on Code. Now, if that happens, again, I will 110% eat crow. You can do those memes or you know nothing Jon Snow all day on me. That's completely fine. However, I really want to know from you guys. So if you're in the camp of Boruto put the Karma Seal on Code, let me know why down in the comment section below. I genuinely want to know. And if I've been swayed by it, I will totally own up to it in the next video. But as always, guys, like anything I had to say, don't forget to comment, rate, subscribe, and share. Thank you so much for watching to the end. Have an awesome day, guys.